best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, there's Lee. Lee is one of the many I don't know what – I mean, Lee's doing all of the stuff today, but Lee does teching sometimes. He's taking photos currently. He's one of our
jack of all trades.
Yes, he's one of our promotions employees here that is such an addition to all of this. We have so many different moving parts that make this things possible. Our give-a-thon every year, and not the least of which are the volunteers who come in. These are people that we don't even. I've never even met them. And then guess what? They come in and say, I want to answer some phones. I want to be a part of the give-a-thon. It's a big deal for us. So we appreciate everybody who's made this possible. Our executives at the very top, all the way down to every patient who's walked in, and we just met Marin and we chatted with her going into her senior year at Olympus. Did the humble thing of, oh, no big deal, I'm on the Olympus swim team after she was on the air with us, which I thought was very rude. But her mom said, you didn't even talk about your sports, man. You didn't even talk about your swimming. But Marin wanted to talk about other stuff, and that's fine.
It's incredible, the talented people we meet.
Yes. And
to know that at what point in time they were at Primary Children's Hospital, and they got the care they needed, and they can continue to do these great things that they're going to do. And she's going to grow up and become a nurse, and she's going to give back.
She will.
So just the impact that it's a perpetual impact that your donation will make that's going to make our community a better place.
Our program is always brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. And if you're listening right now, we're going to start off the hour with the cut. We're going to jump in here with Cole Bagley. He's our Utah Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com. He's also one of these guys that when we want to dip in about the Stanley Cup Finals that start up tonight between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers, rematch of last year's championship. Man, there's just so much that we want to talk about. Let's get into the cut right now. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. Our cut brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth, for all your trusted local needs in retirement with a financial fiduciary. It's TrajanWealth.com. Cole Bagley joining the show. He's our Utah Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com. Cole, I want to report something that's a big win for our program. We did our top 10 last hour, and I asked JJ to name off the last 10 winners of the Stanley Cup, and he was able to name all of them off. That's impressive. I know JJ's kind of a sports guy, but I thought it was awesome. We are officially a hockey town.
Yeah, I mean, if JJ knows what's going on in the hockey world, we are officially a hockey.
Yeah, that idiot knows the last 10 Stanley Cup champs. We must be doing all right.
But what's funny is that, like, what's crazy is once you name off the winners and then you kind of go, yeah, you know what? The Vegas Knights are on that list. You talk about teams who, you know, both Florida teams, everybody looks at and goes, okay, the Lightning and the Panthers. The Panthers could very well. Yes, and the Panthers could very well repeat this year. I mean, as the finals start up, and Edmonton is looking to give Canada its first Stanley Cup as a franchise since 1993. We love to bring that up every few minutes. How likely is that? I mean, obviously having a couple of the best players in the entire world on your roster is a big deal, but Florida just seems like they are a team who are on a mission here, and they built their roster even up bigger than it was last year. They are a team who's poised to repeat. What can Edmonton do to beat this Florida Panthers team in the Stanley Cup final?
I think just keep doing what they're doing. You know, first of all, it's the two best teams in hockey. You know, that's what's going to be so fantastic about this Stanley Cup final is these are the two best teams. These are the two best rosters, and they're playing the best hockey right now. So it should be an incredible final. I could see it going either way. You know, in any number of games. But I think it's going to be pretty even. I would anticipate that it goes, you know, 6, maybe even 7 games, again, like it did last year. You know, for Edmonton, just keep doing what they're doing. They've been playing just not a different style of hockey than they have before, but it feels different. They look different. They look more confident. They look more determined. You know, you look at the points leaders in the playoffs right now, and 4 out of the top 5 are, you know, guys wearing Oilers jerseys with McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Evan Bouchard. And then on the flip side, yeah, you've got the reigning Stanley Cup champions. the Florida Panthers who have kind of set the tone in terms of what it takes to win the Stanley Cup and to play for it every year, and that's just bully in your face hockey. They don't mess around, and they've got arguably the best forecheck in the National Hockey League, and that's going to be key for the Oilers to play around, is to make sure that they're sound defensively, to make sure that they're moving the puck effectively and carefully in their own zone, and to utilize their speed to work around it, because if they don't, Florida's going to take advantage and beat them up, both out on the ice and on the score sheet. So we'll see how it goes, but this is the final that I'm excited about because there's just so much going into it.
There wasn't much difference between these two teams last year as it went down to a Game 7, and it was a remarkable recovery by the Oilers down 3-0 to make it a series and to push it to 7 games. But as I'm looking at this series, I'm just curious, from your point of view, what is different about the Oilers? What did they add or what have they improved upon that's going to put them over the top? Because I'm sure they spent the offseason and throughout this season trying to figure that out and trying to get that one last thing they need to get over the hump and win a Stanley Cup and give Canada their first cup since '93.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they've necessarily done a whole lot of different things. I think, when you look at some of the teams that have gone to back-to-back cups, for instance, when they've lost that first year, oftentimes they win the second. That was the case for Florida. That was the case for the Pittsburgh Penguins back in 2008 and 2009. As tough as that was and as difficult as it was to swallow, I'm sure it taught them what it takes. And to be that close, especially for the Oilers, to be in a Game 7, they crawled there, all the way back. It's not like they were swept or anything. There was a massive difference between the two teams. No, it was super close, and it could have gone the other way. But if you want to break it down a little bit further, I think goaltending has been, a fairly significant deal for them. Stuart Skinner has been really good and reliable, and that's made a big difference for this team. He's top 5 in terms of goals against in the playoffs right now. And then, if you look at save percentage, he's top 10. So, like I said, I don't know that they're really necessarily doing anything differently. I don't think they're playing a different style of hockey or brand of hockey, but I think their determination is different, and the experience that they had last year, has really, hit home for them. They don't want to come up empty again.
Cole, one of the things that has been interesting during this is to watch how fiery the offensive power can be on a team, and if you've got a great goaltender though, and Bobrovsky's been that guy, it just seems like for as much firepower as you can have somebody shut you down. How big of a deal is it to have the type of goaltending that they get in Florida from Bobrovsky to be able to shut down Draisaitl and McDavid, who are obviously going to be showing up and scoring a lot of points, if they're going to get that win?
Yeah, I mean, most times the team that wins the Stanley Cup is the team that has the best goaltender. Occasionally, like Colorado in 2022, they didn't necessarily have the best goaltender, but they just had an offense that was putting, more pucks in the opposing net than they were allowing. But yeah, I mean, just historically, you look at teams that win Stanley Cups, and it has a lot to do with who's manning the pipes. Marc-Andre Fleury for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Obviously Bob with what he was able to do a season ago. And I think just the list goes on. The St. Louis Blues in 2019 or the Washington Capitals in 2018, their goaltenders stepped up and helped really kind of steer the ship. And it gives you a lot of confidence, I think, as a player, when, and that's what a lot of guys have talked about. I remember talking with Matthew Tkachuk earlier this season and him mentioning, hey, you've got a goaltender like Bob back there, and he's reliable, and that if you make a mistake that he's going to have your back. It instills a confidence in you that you can play your game and not have to be super on edge. So yeah, it's going to be a big deal. Like I mentioned earlier, for the top 5 points guys with points in the playoffs right now, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hopkins, and Bouchard, they're all wearing Oilers jerseys. So Florida's going to have their work cut out for them.
I'm also excited about the Mammoth offseason. And you got the draft coming up. You got free agency. A lot of buzz out there about different things going on. One of those stories is Mitch Marner. Doesn't look like he's going to go back to Toronto. Things aren't looking good with that, so it means he's probably going somewhere else. How realistic is it that Utah makes a run and makes a pitch at him to try to bring him here and kind of become the face of this franchise?
Yeah. Utah is definitely looking to take some swings in this offseason. They've got money to go and spend, and they've got enough money to pretty much be, present in any conversation that they want to be in, and that guys will, be willing to listen. But I think with Marner, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for Utah to land him than, most other teams that are interested and have money. This is a guy that's looking to get a bag, right? To get, a lot of money, on that dotted line. And I think that there's going to be other teams that are willing to overpay. Teams like, Los Angeles Kings, the Anaheim Ducks, potentially the Vegas Golden Knights, if they're able to work something out. With Utah, they don't want to overpay. They don't want to put themselves in a situation where, they're putting all of this money towards one player and it's not panning out. Because, when you look at the way that they've rebuilt this team and this organization, it's been step by step. It's been trusting that process. It's been, making sure that at every turn, they're taking the right step. And, I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to entice a guy like Marner. If they're able to, I would anticipate that they'll be trying to enter those conversations, but don't expect Utah to overpay for anybody in free agency unless it's a situation that they feel fully confident, that player can really raise the level of the team and get them over that hump and into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But like I said, Utah's not going to overpay, and if that's what Marner wants, I don't think it happens.
Last year it was a 3-0 start for Florida. Any version of that happening this year, or do you think that this is going to be more of a back-and-forth series?
That's a good question. And, making predictions about the Stanley Cup playoffs and especially the final is just not
what you're
something
paid
that
to do.
I know. I don't like to attach myself to that kind of a prediction because you never know, and that's what's beautiful about this game. I don't think it's going to be a dominant 3-0 start either way. It wouldn't surprise me if Edmonton starts off 2-0. They've got the home ice advantage. The first game is tonight in Edmonton, so we'll see. But as I kind of talked about earlier, series could go any which way. You could see a sweep. You could see 7 games. You could see it go back and forth. So that's what's exciting. And luckily, I am not someone that is covering either of those teams right now, so I do not have to put my stamp on expectations for how the series is going to go.
We were talking with I can't remember which national guy it was. It was like, I think during the semis, they're like, look, on a personal note, it would be nice not to have to, because I think they're based out of Miami, and he was like, it would be nice not to have to fly to Edmonton from Miami.
Yeah, Tim Reynolds.
It was Tim Reynolds. Of course, it's going to complain about the flight from Miami to Edmonton. But at the same time, when it happened, I went, good. Tim's going to have to do some extra work. He's got to do it.
So he asked you for a prediction on the finals. I want a prediction on the draft. If they keep this pick, Cole, who are they picking of those guys that are in that range? Has that top 4 solidified itself, or is it still wide open and up in the air?
Yeah, I think to preface a little bit on the draft, I expect Utah to make a selection. When you consider the lack of pain associated with them just being gifted this 4th overall pick and how they can go and get, essentially exactly what they're looking for, compared to how difficult it is to get bigger and stronger and, goal scorers in both the trade market and free agency. When you can just go draft a kid that you expect to pan out and to be, as good skill-wise as guys like Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther, is it really worth the stress to try and find that, by moving that pick? Now they're certainly going to entertain, conversations if people, jump on the phone and want to talk about it. I'm sure that Bill will answer those phone calls, but it would take a Sergachev-esque type deal to move off of that. You know, a situation where they know that they're getting better right away and getting a guy that can help them now rather than adding to the pipeline. Now, with that being said, I do expect them to make that pick unless something crazy happens, something changes. But this draft is, I expect it to be fairly fluid. The consensus number one overall pick is Matthew Schaefer, but there's definitely some concern. The fact that he only played 17 games, you'd have to have a lot of confidence to draft a guy first overall who really didn't play a whole lot this last year. I do think Michael Misa, who absolutely dominated the juniors with like 130 points, is definitely going to go one or number two. We'll see if Schaefer falls. And so I think for Utah, you're probably going to be more than likely dealing with 3 or 4 potential players being available. Guys like Porter Martone, James Hagan, kid at the Norse, maybe Anton Frondell. And, kind of the overlying theme of those guys is mostly, most of those guys are centermen. Most of those guys are, big goal scorers. And that's what Utah needs. They need scoring and they need size. And they can go in the draft and get that. Now, James Hagan is a little bit smaller, but he is, just a phenomenal talent. He was the original, kind of consensus first overall pick about, 4 or 5 months ago. He has since dropped. But there's really good players that are going to be available, and we'll see which direction they end up going. But, I do expect them to make that pick, and I think they're going to get a really good player to help bolster, their forwards.
Cole Bagley, he covers Utah Mammoth and the NHL for KSLSports.com. Cole, we appreciate it, man. Have fun watching Game 1 tonight, and we'll pick your brain about more predictions next week. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Sounds good, guys.
There you go. Cole Bagley, everybody. We'll take the break. More to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Got our NFL Blitz. That's what that music means, of course. But we've also got some housekeeping. You ready for this? It's a Wednesday, which means it's a Win Ticket Wednesday. We are giving away tickets to Aerofest, featuring Styx, Kevin Cronin, and Don Felder at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater coming up on June 11th. You can go and get tickets at livenation.com, or you can win them right now. Caller number 12 right now gets a 4-pack of tickets to Aerofest. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. That's 801-575-ZONE. Caller number 12 right now gets a family 4-pack of tickets to Aerofest. All right. Also want to mention Hans and Scotty are going to be out noon to 3 at the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games down in Cedar City. Are they heading all the way down?
Yeah, they are.
They'll
be there in person.
They start driving down today? Is that what
they better.
Start pedaling? Get on a bike?
Go to Bryce Canyon while you're down there.
Come on.
Have a good time.
You can celebrate 40 years of Utah sports tradition with the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games coming up. Hans and Scotty are going to be there all day for their show on Friday. So there you go. In the meantime, JJ, the offseason signings and things that go on, fine, great. All the stuff that is there, I think it's all great. But the drama that happens in the offseason, that's the more fun for me, okay? Because Trevon Diggs is facing possible salary cut because of the absences. I always love that. You're a cajillionaire, and you can't show up for team meetings or OTAs or mini camps. But the Dallas cornerback Trevon Diggs in danger of missing out on $500,000 from his base salary for not participating in the offseason program. My question is, though, and this is a guy who had to rehab his knee, and he had it surgically repaired, obviously, during the offseason, not in attendance for the first 2 phases of the program. At what point do we go, you know what, you're getting better, you're off doing your rehab thing. If he was Stefon Diggs and he was on a boat, I don't know, with some pink cocaine, then maybe I would say let's dock the guy. When he's in Miami rehabbing his knee, what on earth do the Cowboys want to get out of this whole thing? You know what I mean? Like, why are they going after him?
Well, he's contractually obligated.
I get it, but $500,000. This is a guy who's still trying to get back. And by the way, and I get it, you want guys to be parts of the program, but I don't know. To me, is it that they wanted him to rehab there in Dallas? Is that what they wanted?
Okay. 100%. They want him there.
So this is the
they believe he has an obligation to them. And when you go, this is a discussion that takes place in sports all the time.
Yeah.
Even here recently, where you had a situation where Donovan Mitchell had his own guys, and it didn't sit well with the Jazz. There's these things happen all the time.
Yeah.
Guys have their guys, and sometimes they're not team employees, or they want to do something away from the team. This is football. Like, you have to feel like you're in the same building, like you're a family, like you're together. Those are all the buzzwords of football, right? So when guys go off on their own, or they think their own thing, it doesn't sit well with some of the other players on the team. So maybe that's part of it. Ultimately, it's just a contractual obligation. You need to be here 84.375%.
That's a very specific number.
Of the offseason activities. You better be here, or we're going to dock you and pay. And I'll tell you what, if I have $500K on the line, I will be there for 84.375% or more of those activities to make sure I get that $500,000 check. These NFL guys that just going to have this money to burn, it's your money, man, whatever, but geez, get to work, man. Show up.
I love it. 80, what was it?
84.375% completion requirement.
Man, if you
he has to attend 84.375%
if our boss was like,
of
hey,
off-season activities. How do they come up with that number?
I need you to show up at work 84% of the time this year, okay? Otherwise, you can't get that $500,000. It's like,
we're at 546 right now. That means I can go. I've reached 84.375% of this great show.
You should have been gone 4.5 minutes ago, technically. That's why I like your dedication.
I'm going above and beyond
you'll
today.
You'll stay for 100% of the show.
But you will not see me for best and worst.
I'm not going to be here.
I'm only contractually obligated to be here for 84.375% of the show.
I love it. Okay, we got to take a break.
Plus, they have Jimmy John's over there.
Oh, James John.
Yes.
We will be taking a break here. We'll come back. We've got tons going on here. We've got our best and worst coming up right around the corner. So don't miss any of it. Stay here. Final segment of the hour next. Stay here. 97.5, the Kessel Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Final segment of the hour. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us. This portion of the show brought to you by the Doug Smith family of dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and now in Linden, where you can find the Kia dealership. We love those Doug Smith guys. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Also, hey, and I'm glad we're getting some dads some respect on this front. Moms always get the Minky Couture treatment. You can give dad the same treatment.
Minky blankets
Come on,
too.
man. The Father's Day.
Give me that.
The Father's Day discount is absolutely in. It's available for you right now. Just go to minkycouture.com. You type in the code Zone50. You're going to get that 50% off, and you can listen to Minky Monday coming up on Monday prior to Father's Day. We're going to be giving away a Minky blanket as well. So there you go. All right, JJ, best and worst. The best, I was asking you this during the break. Tell me about this. Utah Valley goes to the Big West, part of conference realignment. Heck, all the other schools in the state seem to be conference realigning. Let's realign somebody else, and you say it's a good deal for UVU.
Absolutely. Obviously a great basketball conference. UVU's basketball program is
on the rise
and just this close to making the NCAA tournament. It's a great soccer conference, and soccer matters a lot at Utah Valley. So just culturally and geographically, this makes a lot of sense. Utah Valley can travel to Southern California a lot. They can recruit there a lot. It's going to make a lot of sense. A better fit than perhaps the WAC has been.
JJ, this next story is best and worst. I'm a little bit sad. I'm happy for the Rockies because they won more games, or as many games as they won in all of May so far in June. That's good for them. I'm one of those people that sometimes likes to bask in the teams that are on record pace for like being the worst ever. That's like
if
fun.
you're going to do something, be
Come
the
on.
best at it, even if it's being the worst.
If it's the best, be the worst at it. They were on pace. Like we had nothing to compare it to. It was the worst team by far in baseball history, and now I'm disappointed. They've won double-digit games now.
They've won 3 straight. They've won 3 of their last 10.
Yeah, which means that the Marlins,
The Giants have won 3 of their last 10.
the Marlins got swept in a series.
The Braves have only won 3 of their
Rockies.
last 10. The Rockies are doing things the Braves are doing.
I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it.
Go back to your losing ways, Rockies.
I want to talk historical meltdowns about teams.
We want to make history.
I don't want to talk about
Otherwise, it's boring.
I don't want to talk about how, your family's excited now because you've won more games. I don't care. I want historically bad baseball.
This is the most relevant the Rockies have been since they made the World Series.
Plus, you know what? There was that little outside chance that had nothing to do with it, but at the same time, people were still like, hey, sell the team. Sell the team. Bring it to Salt Lake.
Big League Utah's interesting.
Big League Utah. We will take your historically bad baseball teams. All right? And we will build them into maybe they'll be historically bad here, but they'll be our historically bad, okay? We'll love them ourselves.
Sounds like a bad episode of Flip This House. Flip This Franchise.
We are here all day with the KSL Give-a-thon, and we've been telling you how important it is to not just donate, but also to become a smile maker. Go to kslkids.com. That's the ongoing donation to help anybody who is in need, because every child is going to get care at Primary Children's Hospital, regardless of their ability to pay or not. And you can go to kslkids.com, and you can be a part of that. Every cent goes to the care of the kids, nothing else. It goes to the care of kids and families who are not able to pay on their own. That's why we come in as the most charitable state in the entire country, Utah, and we come through on exact moments like this. Go to kslkids.com. We're here with Henry Coulter. Henry, we're just chatting with. Henry, first of all, thanks for coming all the way up from Richfield, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great to be here.
It is great to have you. You should say that. It is. It's great to have me.
Great to have me.
You know what? I love that. I love that attitude. First of all, tell us your relationship with your caregivers up at Primary Children's. That's always my favorite thing to ask because you have had a team that's probably worked with you a lot and people you've known over the years. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about those relationships, how important they've been.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for on and off 15 years with Primary Children's. Best caregivers ever. I mean, I love my doctors. I love all the nurses. Love everyone who checks me in. I'd like to say I have a great relationship, but some of the doctors are
They're pretty busy. They got a lot going on.
Well, Henry, because you've been there so many times, you've been able to see these donations firsthand and the impact they have. What are some of the things that the donations have paid for or provided at Primary Children's Hospital that have made a difference in your medical journey?
Right. I mean, just kind of small one, the game carts that are all around throughout the hospital, they make a huge difference, I know, with me when I was younger, kids next door to me I've seen crazy like morale boost just because of that. Yeah.
There's a teen room. We were talking about how the teen room and the gaming systems they put in there and say, hey, let's not just bring you in here and have all of just these moments that for so many kids they're feeling so down or they're getting bad news or they're having to stay for a long, long time. This is one of those moments where, you can look around and go, you know what, we're trying to make a difference in the daily lives of these kids who are in the hospital. Dad is here with us also and is able to come up, and you're wearing the Warrior, the hashtag kidney donor. This is a family affair for you guys. This is a big deal. You guys make the trip, and you haven't just made it once for today. You've done it a lot of times. This has been a long journey for you guys. Tell us about how it's been for you and the interactions you've had at Primary Children's.
Well, it's been really good. We're just super impressed with Primary Children's. We lived down in Phoenix for a time, and we liked Phoenix Children's, but we definitely love Primary Children's. The people there are great. Henry's first kidney transplant, just to give you a sense of how generous they really are. His first kidney transplant, he was one of the first to get transplanted in Primary Children's. They used to do both of the surgeries at the University of Utah. So he was one of the first, and because of how insurance worked, they just wrote off the whole fee.
That is crazy.
Yeah, a lot.
That's an insane thing. Well, and to think not just one, but multiple kidney transplants. Like that's
Yep.
that's a lot of staying time up there. And
Yeah.
so being able to have those relationships, not just with those guys. I mean, that's a lot of time you spend at a place, and it's been important for you guys.
Yeah, second home.
Well, I appreciate you guys took the drive up here too to be able to come in and tell us about it, and to be able to dip in and tell us about all these things. This is why we do this. This is why we try to tell people, hey, there's a face on the end of this too. There are families who come up who benefit. There are so many families who come up and are unable to pay at all, and they aren't turned away because of that. And it's because of donations that people make right here. Go to KSLkids.com and make yourself a Smile Maker. That's a monthly donation. Let's have our KSL Sports Zone listeners show up and show that, you know what, our listeners are generous and they want to help out today. And there are people who don't even know it, but they're going to be going to Primary Children's Hospital, and it's going to be a massive change in their life and in their lifestyle, and it's going to affect them. That's for even those people who don't even know that they need this care yet. 801-575-KIDS. That's 801-575-5437 or KSLkids.com. Henry, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming up, and we appreciate you guys taking that extra trip.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We got more to go, so just stay right here with us. KSLkids.com. Make that donation right now. Make the difference right now. Let's go. Just stay right here dialed in. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.